It is time for the KBOI Medical Moment, brought to you by Regence Blue Shield of Idaho, featuring Dr. Mark Hiatt, the Executive Medical Director for Regence. Dr. Hiatt, good morning.
Good morning, Chris and Paul J.
Morning, Doc. Got a little device you want to talk about today called the cancer pen. Tell us about the cancer pen. What is it?
Well, Paul J., this cancer pen is like a pen in that you can hold it in your hand. The only thing it doesn't write, what it does is it detects cancer. It can actually distinguish between cancerous and normal tissue during a surgery in real time, so that surgeons, as they're operating, can know more quickly and more precisely what should be removed and what should be preserved.
How does the cancer pen do that?
Well, this cancer pen, this device, is able to extract tiny molecules from the surface of the tissue during surgery, and it's able to analyze the composition of these tiny molecules very quickly, even within 10 seconds, looking for patterns characteristic of cancerous cells.
How's the differentiation between cancerous and normal tissue done currently?
Paul J., currently the process is somewhat more time-consuming and cumbersome because typically it requires that you take that sample of tissue during surgery, send it to a pathologist who then has to look at it under a microscope. That can take more time.
Dr. Hiatt, with many women these days delaying motherhood, are men also having children at an older age generally?
Yes, a new study actually came out just within this past week, and it revealed that the average age of an American baby's father has risen quite substantially by about 4 years since the 1970s, from about 27 to 31.
Well, I'll tell you what, Doc. I became a father at 50, and I thought it was the most tremendous thing that's ever happened to me. That was 25 years ago, and my daughter is the most precious thing I have. It's awesome.
Yeah, children can be a blessing, truly a blessing. And it's interesting that more and more men at a later time in their life are having these blessings.
Now, what about
more common? Yeah.
Sorry, Doctor. What about men becoming fathers in their 40s? Is that happening a lot?
Yes, it's doubled since the 70s. And in fact, births to these men over 40 now make up almost 1/10 of all babies in this country.
And as Paul J. said, in their 50s?
Yes, that's also more common. That's also doubled since the 70s.
You have more time to spend with your kids, I think. More time. You have more time. You have more money. You're more settled in your career. You pay more attention. I think there's a lot of upside. I'm sure there's some downside too, but there's a lot of upside.
Definitely.
Dr. Hiatt, there have been so many wildfires in the West, and, of course, Boise hasn't been immune to the smoke. We had smoke in the air for several weeks. What have the effects been on people? Yeah,
certainly that wildfire smoke blanketing the West has left the skies hazy, but it's also left people suffering. They've had, of course, many people have had itchy noses and runny eyes. Smoke can, in fact, irritate your eyes and respiratory system, as many people have found out. It can also worsen your chronic heart and lung diseases.
What should people do?
Well, the main thing really is to limit your exposure. Try, if you can, to reduce the amount of time spent outdoors. That means stay indoors whenever possible with the doors closed and the windows shut. When you're inside, you should also reduce other sources of indoor air pollution. So that could mean smoke from tobacco, or wood-burning stoves and candles. And when you're inside, try to use, if available, high-efficiency air cleaning filters. And here's something that a lot of people don't know. Avoid vacuuming, because that can stir up dust.
Wow.
And then finally, drink plenty of water, because if you have symptoms such as a scratchy throat, the water can really help.
What about exercising?
Really try to avoid any type of vigorous outdoor activity. So if you need to run, exercise on the treadmill instead of on the trail.
I like it.
Now, how about driving?
Well, finally, when you drive, you can really reduce your exposure by keeping the windows closed. with the air conditioning on, and in particular, put it in the recirculate setting. These are ways that you can avoid your exposure.
All right, Dr. Hiatt, we appreciate your time this morning on KBOI.
Thank you.
Thanks, Doc.
It's the KBOI Medical Moment, brought to you by Regence Blue Shield of Idaho, featuring Dr. Mark Hiatt, who is the Executive Medical Director for Regence.